Bills Mafia, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, where we keep it real, keep it Bills, and most importantly, keep it rolling all year long with the most exclusive updates and behind-the-scenes insight from One Bills Drive. Now, before we dive into the firestorm of news surrounding Elijah Moore, the draft, and some of Brandon Beane's spicier comments this week, let's get one thing straight. This Buffalo Bills team is locked in on one mission: getting better, sharpening the roster, upgrading every unit. They've been laser focused on correcting what went wrong against Kansas City and making sure that 2025 ends differently than the past few seasons. That means dialing in on defense, retooling the offense, and making sure Josh Allen has what he needs to bring that Lombardi home. If you're excited about this team and want to ride with us all season long, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment as we go. Your takes make this community special. Let's start with the big picture, the NFL draft. The Buffalo Bills made their intentions very clear last weekend. This draft was about defense, and it makes sense. After another gut-wrenching playoff loss to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, the front office knew something had to change. You can't beat Kansas City without a defense that can slow them down, or at least get off the field on third down. So what did Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott do? They doubled down on physicality, speed, defensive versatility. The biggest pick, of course, was cornerback Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky, a blazing fast DB who ran a 4.8 at the Combine and was clearly high on Buffalo's internal board. But let's be real, not everyone loved the pick. Here's where things get a little spicy. According to PFF's draft big board, Maxwell Hairston was ranked as the 43rd overall prospect and the 6th best cornerback available. Buffalo took him at pick 30, so naturally the national media started throwing around that dreaded word, reach. PFF listed Hairston as one of the 9 biggest reaches of round 1, alongside picks like Jackson Dart to the Giants and Tyleik Williams to Detroit. They pointed out Hairston's mid-season shoulder injury and said his film wasn't always consistent, even though his raw speed jumps off the screen. Now here's the thing, Mafia. You can call it a reach, but you can also call it a need-based pick. With Tre'Davious White gone, Christian Benford still developing, and Kaya Elam's future uncertain, Buffalo had to address corner. Hairston gives them something this secondary desperately needs: elite straight line speed, recovery ability, and deep coverage capability. It may not have been the sexiest pick, but it might be the one that helps us finally stop Kansas City from going 80 yards in under a minute. But while all eyes were on the defensive picks, fans were still asking the obvious question: where's the help for Josh Allen? Wide receiver was a major talking point before the draft, especially with Stefon Diggs traded and Buffalo leaning into a by committee approach at the position. So, when Beane didn't take a WR early, critics pounced. Well, Beane didn't hold back. In a recent radio interview, Buffalo's GM let loose on the noise surrounding their draft strategy. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect of, people act like we're starving for receivers. We averaged over 30 points per game last year. We're not desperate. We're building the best team, not just checking off boxes for headlines. And Bills Mafia, you could feel the fire in his voice. Beane believes in his system. He believes in Allen. And more importantly, he believes in the weapons already in-house. But that didn't stop him from making one more move this week. On Wednesday, boom, breaking news. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Bills signed former Browns and Jets wide receiver Elijah Moore to a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million. Let's talk about it. Moore's career has been rocky, to say the least. He came into the league with tons of hype out of Ole Miss, but never quite found his rhythm in New York. After getting traded to Cleveland, things started to click. Slowly, over the past 2 seasons, Moore appeared in all 34 games, notching 120 catches for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not Pro Bowl numbers, but enough to show he can contribute, especially in the right role. So how does he fit in Buffalo? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Moore is a slot-heavy receiver, and that creates a bit of a logjam because Khalil Shakir is already emerging as one of the most dependable slot guys in the league. So don't expect Moore to waltz into a featured role. but Buffalo could use him creatively as a Z receiver, moving around in motion, or even lining up outside distressed defenses. Horizontally, and when you look at the full WR room now, here's what we've got. Keon Coleman, the rookie and potential ex-receiver, Josh Palmer, steady and reliable, Curtis Samuel, gadget guy with speed and quick cuts, Shakir, ascending slot option, Elijah Moore, now an intriguing weapon with something to prove, Caden Prather, Laviska Shenault, and more depth behind them. Bottom line, this isn't about having a Diggs-level star anymore. It's about giving Allen 6 or 7 different tools, all of whom can hurt defenses in different ways. And for a one-year deal worth $5 million. That's a low-risk, high-upside swing by Beane. So let's bring this home. Bills Mafia. Here's where things stand. Buffalo focused on defense in the draft, and they had to. They drafted Maxwell Hairston, a player they clearly believe in, even if the outside world doesn't. Brandon Beane clapped back at critics questioning his WR plan. And now, just days later, he added a legit NFL receiver in Elijah Moore to bolster Josh Allen's arsenal. Do we still have questions? Sure. Will Hairston live up to first-round expectations? Can Moore finally break out in a system that suits him? And is this offense deep enough to win without a certified WR1? Time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Beane's not panicking, he's building, and the Super Bowl window is still wide open. Now I want to hear from you. The Buffalo Bills braced themselves for trouble this offseason. And this week, trouble showed up, or maybe more accurately, didn't show up, because James Cook wasn't at voluntary workouts. That's right, the star running back who just posted back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, who led the entire league in rushing touchdowns last year, and who's become a core weapon in the Josh Allen-led offense, is now absent as a quiet contract standoff begins to unfold. Cook wants his second NFL contract. And make no mistake, he wants to get paid like one of the best. The number floating around $15 million per year. But here's the problem. History hasn't been kind to running backs when it comes to second deals, especially with a team that drafted them. Let's talk business. Cook was a second-round pick just a few years ago. He's developed into one of the league's most productive backs, and not just on the ground. He's a threat as a receiver. He can block. He fits Ken Dorsey's offense perfectly, and he's arguably more explosive than any RB Buffaloes had since the prime days of LeSean McCoy. So why isn't a deal done? Because in today's NFL, running backs don't get the bag, at least not often. Take a look around. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, even Derrick Henry, all of them had to fight to get paid, and some didn't even get what they were worth. Teams are hesitant. They don't want to pay top dollar for a position where production can fall off fast, and injuries are always looming. But if anyone's earned a conversation, it's James Cook. And yet the Bills still haven't reached an agreement. Earlier, this month things got even more complicated. General Manager Brandon Beane went on local radio and addressed the elephant in the room. His message? I mean, it's voluntary. Those 3 words say a lot. He's trying to cool things down. He doesn't want this framed as a holdout, at least not publicly, but the truth is, it kind of looks like one, doesn't it? Especially since Cook has made it clear through his camp that he wants long-term security, and the Bills have paused negotiations. And what's really telling is what Beane said next. Fast forward to this week. Beane appeared on the Pat McAfee show, and the tone shifted just a little. When asked about Cook, he said, he will be here this year, and hopefully beyond. We're focused on this season, but yes, for 2025, we'll have all 3 backs. And again, we love James. We would love nothing more than to keep him here longer term. Let's break that down. Beane is clearly leaving the door open for a future deal, but he's not committing to anything just yet. He's focusing on the now. He's saying Cook's on the roster. We expect him to play this season. And after that, we'll see. He wants fans, and maybe Cook's agents, to know the team isn't panicking, but he's also being very careful with his words. So what do Beane's comments really mean? Are the Bills truly committed to making Cook their long-term RB1, or are they simply trying to protect leverage while avoiding a public standoff? Here's my take. Brandon Beane is a smart GM. He knows the value Cook brings. But he also knows that committing $15 million per year to a running back could impact Buffalo's flexibility with future cap space, especially with Josh Allen's mega contract, Stephon Diggs' dead cap hit, and rebuilding the receiver room around. Had guys like Keon Coleman, Beans playing this like poker, keeping his cards close, staying calm, and hoping to avoid a holdout that goes nuclear. If we rewind just a few weeks to the NFL owners' meetings in West Palm Beach, Bean gave us even more insight. His reps put it out there that we talked. It didn't lead to anything close to a deal, so we moved on to guys we were more aligned with. That's about as direct as Bean gets. He's saying, look, we tried, we weren't close, so we focused on other deals. And that's probably why the Bills didn't make running back a priority in the draft. They expect Cook to play this year, even if a long-term deal isn't in place. But make no mistake, there's tension here. What do you think of the Elijah Moore signing? Ash, do you like the fit? Or would you have preferred a splashier move? And what about Maxwell Hairston? Do you trust Bean on this pick? Drop your takes in the comments below. We'll be featuring our favorite ones in the next video. And of course, if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn those notifications on so you never miss a beat during this pivotal offseason. We've got roster battles, training camp previews, and inside access coming your way all summer long. Until next time, go Bills, let's bring it home.